Now that you have your logout route in place, it's time to go ahead and test this by adding a new describe block at the very bottom of our server test file. We're going to verify that when we send across a token, it does indeed get removed from the user's collection. Over at the bottom of server.test.js, we can add our final describe block for our final route. We're going to call describe, passing in the route signature. It's a delete route, and the URL is /users/me/token, exactly as we have it right here. Next up, we can add our function, and in here, we're going to add one test case that you're going to be responsible for filling out. This test case is going to make sure that when a real valid XAuth token gets passed across to the logout method, it actually does get logged out. It should remove auth token on log out. This is going to be an asynchronous function, so I'll specify done right here. And to get this done, we're going to need some seed data. And we actually already have some good data in our database for this test case. Right here, our first user, they already have a tokens array, which means that we can just grab this token value, use this as our XAuth token, then after the fact, we can make sure that the database was updated and that the tokens array has a length of 0. To summarize, the first thing you're going to do is make a delete request to users me token. You're also going to set XAuth equal to token. This is going to be the token inside of the tokens array right here. Then you're going to go ahead and make some assertions. You're going to expect that you get a 200 back. Then you're going to add an asynchronous end call like we do here to make an asynchronous assertion. Here you're going to find user in the database, find user, and you're going to verify that tokens array has length of 0. Once you have all of this in place, you can go ahead and run the test suite from the terminal, and you should see your new test showing up, and it should be passing. Feel free to use Google or anything we've done in this course, including the current file, to get this done. We have done everything you need to do here, up above somewhere in the server test file. Pause the video, knock this out, and when you're done, click play. How'd you do? Hopefully you were able to get that done without too much trouble. To get started, we are going to be making a request to our application, and this is going to be a delete request, so I will call the delete method. Now the route for this one is going to be a regular route. There is no need to inject any URL parameters, so we can use a regular string and specify it /users/me/token. Now the next thing that we need to do is set the XAuth header, because remember, this route is not only private, but it uses that token as the token to delete. Right here inside of the server test file, we can use set, as we've done previously, to set XAuth equal to the value we want to use. Now in our case, we do want to use that user's seed token value. We're going to grab the first user, then we'll grab the first token. Let's go into the users array and grab the very first user. Then we're going to access the tokens array property, grabbing the first token, and finally, we're going to access the actual token value. With this in place, we're actually done making the request, and now we can start making our expectations and assertions. First up, we're going to expect that we get a 200 back. Then we're going to add a custom callback to end. Like we've done before, we'll specify the error and response arguments. And inside of here, the first thing we'll do, as always, is handle the error. If there is any error from the assertions above, all we're going to do is return, calling done, passing the error to the done function. Now we can make our custom assertion, which means that we're going to want to query the database. First up, I'm going to use user.findById. Then I'm going to pass the ID in of the first user, which I have access to via users. I'm going to grab the first user, and I'm going to access the ID property. Next up, we can go ahead and add our call to then, so we can do something when that user comes back. Right here, I'll add my function where we get the user document, and we can make our assertion about what's inside of the database. Now in this case, the only thing we're going to assert is that the user tokens array has a length of 0. Expect user.tokens.length to be 0. Now that we have our one assertion in place, we can go ahead and call done, wrapping up the test suite, and I can add a call to catch any errors that might occur, printing them to the screen correctly. Right here, we're going to call done, passing in the error argument. With this in place, I'm going to go ahead and remove the comments up above, and we can go ahead and run the test suite from the terminal by running npm test. Now, once we get to the very bottom of our test file, we should see our delete token route, and the test case should be passing. If it is, we are all done testing our routes, and we can move on to start the integration. Right here, we're at the create users route. Here's our delete route, and the test case is indeed passing. We're expecting the length to be 0. If the length wasn't 0, for example, if it was 1, the test case would indeed fail because the value that we expect does not equal the value actually inside of the database. Now that we are done, we can go ahead and wrap this video up by making a commit to save our changes. Right here inside of the terminal in just a second, we're going to see the test case fails. I'm going to revert that change, and now we can go ahead and make a commit. I'm going to use clear to clear the terminal output and run git status to see the changes we have. Here, we just have changes to our server test.js file. Now, aside from using a GUI like SourceTree, which is a graphic user interface for managing Git, we can always run git diff, and this is going to let us see the changes to the file. Here you can see we have a lot of green lines, which means these are additions to the repository. And what do we have in green? The code we wrote in this video. Everything looks great, which means that we can make a commit. Git commit with the A and the M flag or the combined AM flag both do the exact same thing. And a good message for this one is add tests for delete /users/me/token. With this in place, I can make the commit and push it up to GitHub, and we are done. In the next couple videos, we're going to be integrating the users and to-dos together. So when you create a to-do, the user ID is associated with that to-do, and only that user can manage the to-do. Currently, inside of server.js, all of the to-do related routes are still public. They don't require authentication, and we don't care who created the to-do. We're simply going to return it regardless. All of that is getting fixed coming up next, so stay tuned. I will see you next time.